Hello and welcome to another edition of the Chalk and Cheese Show. Wednesday already, it's come around so quick, and I know I say it every single week. I am DJ Casper, and as always, I am joined by DJ Charcoal. Now we have two special guests with us tonight. One is London-based DJ Alexandra, and we have the fantastic John Anthony, who is an actor, screenwriter, and a producer, joining us all the way from the USA. Now, for people that don't know who we are, I'd be very surprised if people don't know who we are by now, but we are the Chalk and Cheese Show, and we do this each and every Wednesday, bringing you the freshest guests from around the globe. We conduct some interviews, get to know a little bit about themselves, and yeah, that's what we do. That's exactly what we do. Now, I've had a bit of a weird afternoon today because I've already been interviewed once. Yeah, I've been interviewed. I represented the Chalk and Cheese Show this afternoon. It was a US-based podcast, so I've already been interviewed today. So now I feel a bit more comfortable asking the questions rather than answering the questions. Um, Yes, I'm going to talk about myself just for 2 minutes or so. I've had a bit of a nightmare weekend, obviously being bank holiday weekend in the UK. Had a bit of a situation with a soap dispenser yesterday in work. Yeah, ended up getting a little bit pink eye, which I'm really not happy about. But at least the bubbles are gone now and my eye has stopped weeping. Then to top it off, yeah, I almost chopped the top of my finger off. But anyway, anywho, let's get on with the show. DJ Charcoal, how are you tonight, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, it's Wednesday. Wow, and we've been waiting to get these two guys on. And just if it's your first time today listening, you can go over to our website to catch all the replays of all of our interviews that we've had, and also we are going live off Facebook. So if you type in your search engine, you type in all you need to type in is at the Chalk and Cheese Show, and basically you see our ugly faces on there. Well, not these two guys, mine. So and Casper's. Sorry. Yeah. So getting back to your question, mate, it's been crazy. I am going on holidays in a couple of weeks, off to Spain. So gonna relax, and just leading up to that, it's always hectic. You know, when you're just about to fly, you have to make sure everything's all in place, ready to go just before you leave, and you kind of always forget something. But I don't know. I'm just one of those people that just rolls with it. If I forget something, well, I've forgotten something. I don't really care. But you know, when you're living in a family full of kids, there's bound to be some hiccups along the way. So anyway, enough of my life. And like Casper said earlier on, we've got John Anthony, who we're going to be interviewing first, and then we'll move across to the lovely, I'm going to call you lovely Aleks tonight. So, John, yes, look, we had a tiny introduction just before we came live on air. Tell us a little bit about yourself, just for so the listeners can know, you know, who you are, and yeah, tell the listeners if you can, please.
Okay. First of all, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Um, so basically, I'm an independent filmmaker, actor, writer, and director. I've written actually, I'm on my 17th short film that I've written. Written two screenplays. I've got two more in the works. So, also a full-time teacher. So when I'm not teaching, I'm writing and doing my acting gig, and doing the best I can to put films out there. And also, if my agent finds me something, go on an audition and hopefully book a role, and do some acting out that way as well.
Brilliant. And I've just been kind of looking at your bio, you know, like we do every single person that we have coming on, and you do a lot of short films.
Mhm.
Is there like kind of a preference? I can see a preference there, or is it just obviously the work that's coming forth to you? You just tend to kind of gravitate towards the short films. And to be honest with you, for me, I would probably prefer a short film. I don't know, maybe I'm being naive. I find that get it done, get out. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like I've done so many short films, and then I think it was probably after like my 10th or 11th short film, I wanted to kind of branch out to start writing, full feature length films. And I really kind of got started in one of my acting classes from a good friend of mine who's a working actor. His name is Glenn Morshower, and he hosts the Extra Mile Workshop, which I'd been a part of for many years, and learned so much from him. And he actually encouraged us as actors to go ahead and start writing stuff. You could write your own scenes. So like, let's say if you and I were paired up for a class, we could have maybe a scene from a movie, a TV show. But if you wanted to write something, he always gave you the option. If you want to write something, feel free to write something. So the very first thing I wrote in class, I had the opportunity to perform it with a extremely talented actress. And when we got done, he had asked, where it came from. And I said, well, I wrote it. And he's just like, wow, okay. And then after class, I had a friend of mine, and he was talking about, hey, we could turn this into a short film. So he took one of the very first things that I wrote, put it in a short film. And then all I really did was, write it and then acted in it, and he filmed it. And he kind of got me hooked on the bug of just, writing scenes and stuff like that. And then a lot of the scenes I started to write, I would come home and I'd sit and I think, can I make this into a short film? And, there were some that I was like, yes, I can. And then there were some like, no, maybe this wouldn't be very good. And so I just kind of started, probably like in 2018, I think was my first one. And, I just got this writing bug. And then I just, next thing I know, I got 2 or 3 short films done in a year and putting those out. And then I, would submit them to festivals and see how they would go and so forth. And then about, I guess it was like maybe 2019. I wanted to I always had an idea of writing a full length feature, and I had this story that I wanted to have. And, I sat down and I wrote it. And the first time I wrote it, it was like 100, I think it was like 136 pages, which is way too long for a script. So a good friend of mine, he's like, you've got to cut that down. And we cut it down to about 106 pages. And after several rewrites and some other stuff, then just started submitting it. I did hear back from a production company out in Los Angeles that they wanted to read it. So I sent it to them. Now, of course, I haven't heard anything back, but that's kind of like par for the course. They ask for it, and sometimes it might go on a bookshelf and sit there forever before they read it, or maybe they'll be interested to look at it. But yeah, so now I'm kind of branching out in both of them. Like you do, I love to do shorts because you can it doesn't take nearly as long, sometimes, but the only difference is in a short film, you have to gather all your characters and everything else in your plot a lot quicker to tell the story. Because, full length feature, you can develop your characters, you can give backstories and so forth. And like with my short films, most of them range between about 10 minutes and 22 minutes. So, but yeah, I mean, for me right now, it's writing both and doing whatever I can just to get it out there and get it in the hands of, people who like it and want to read it. And the ideal thing would be to, get a call and say, hey, look, we want to make this movie. What do we need to do? And I'd be like, let's make it, so, and I've got my favorite cast that it was funny because when I first wrote it, I had pictures of basically like 3 actors that I wanted to portray. And then I was basically saying, I'll let a casting director come out and find out whoever they wanted. And when I wrote my first screenplay, which is called Walter, and it's a family movie too. And if you look at today's genre, there's not a lot of family movies out there. There's, your horror movies, your dramas and so forth, your your superhero movies, but not something that you can take your whole entire family to. And this is what this movie's about. And when I wrote it, I only had one person in mind to play Walter. And my friends are always like, "Oh, that's never going to happen." And I'm like, you know what? I live in a world where everything's possible. If you believe in yourself and you're positive and you surround yourself with great people, anything can happen. So Walter is basically the only person who I would love to have play it would be Morgan Freeman. And then I don't know if you guys are familiar with the actor Ed Burns. He's a phenomenal actor, great writer, great director. I have him as playing the father. And then I think I also have it. There's a smaller role for a next door neighbor who lives next door to Walter, and there's two parts to it. One is because I think she's absolutely incredible and probably one of the greatest actresses of all time, and also I think because my wife knows that I've got a big crush on her, is Helen Mirren has to play the next door neighbor. So it's just like, if I can get those three people on this film and get Ed Burns to direct it as well, my life is complete. As I mean, I'd stop doing what I'm doing. I just sit back and just watch. So, just to see Morgan Freeman say a line that I've written on a film, or Helen Mirren, or Ed Burns, and then just be like, hey, I just want to sit on set and watch you guys do your magic, would be like the greatest thing for me.
Oh, definitely. Even getting one of those actors would be
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, to be honest, just to hear Morgan Freeman speak will be enough for me.
Yeah,
Like,
that's my whole thing. I'm just like, because a friend's like, why Morgan Freeman? I like, why not Morgan Freeman?
yeah,
I
he
said
has a
this role is
brilliant voice.
like basically written for him. So, who knows? Like I said, I always keep my fingers crossed. I stay positive. And you know what? Dreams do come true. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Right, and talking of like writing films and like obviously because you're portraying a story, so where do you get your ideas, inspirations from? Is it from like everyday experiences, or do you, I don't know, it might sound weird, but do you like dream about things and you think, Actually that would be great in a movie," like, so where does your kind of like inspiration come from in your ideas?
That's a great question, and thank you for that. It's just, it's funny when you talk about the dreaming aspect, because it was a couple weeks ago. I literally had this dream about another screenplay I wanted to write, and I woke up and I told my wife, and she's like, "Where did this come from?" I said, "I just had this dream about it, and next thing I know, I've got like a page of notes on it. What how I want the screenplay to go." But it is. Sometimes it's something that comes to me in a dream. Sometimes it's just something that just you know pops up in my head, where it's just like, wait a minute, I want to do a story about this. A lot of times too, it's like if I write a scene for class, I look at it and go, can I put this character, or can I take this person and put them into a short film? Can I put them into a full length feature? Can I tell a story? And for me, the answer is yes. I mean, I did a short film called "A Love Not Lost," that actually has done very, very well on the short film circuit. And the character in there that who's one of the main characters, I'm actually taking his character and putting it, um, basically the same character. I'm changing up his name, but putting him into a full length feature that I'm already like 45 pages into. But yeah, I mean, if you were to look at my website and you look at the genre of films, I mean, they go from crime to family to dark comedy to drama. So it's just like, I mean, it's almost less like, I sometimes feel like my head's just a bunch of marbles, and whatever marble pops out, it's gonna have something on it. All right, we're gonna write a comedy today, and then next thing I know, I'm coming up with something. But like for me, I've only done two comedies, and comedy for me, comedy is really tough to write. And I say that for me because it's like if you have a movie and people go to watch it, and you put in, well, this is where the audience laughs, and they don't laugh, then it's just like, man, it didn't do as well as I thought it was going to do.
yeah,
So
no, definitely. And you are currently filming and directing something at the moment.
mhm.
One of well, I'll let you announce the film, but it's another short film. It's about I'm just obviously reading off the computer here, so I won't beat around the bush. It writes a story about a young woman's strength, bravery, and the will to follow her heart.
Mhm.
It sounds like it's kind of an empowerment, to give women to follow their dreams, so to speak. Um, I know I'm kind of going to step outside this boundary at the moment, but if you're kind of directing it, did you write that as well?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Um, would you ever think about doing a man's point of view as well?
Yeah. Well, the thing with and this one was just kind of, it kind of came to me one day. So for your listening audience, the movie is called My Journey to Me. And basically what the story is, it's about a girl in her mid 20s, late 20s, who finally decides to come out. And and she has to deal with, of course, telling her family, but also the person who she's always wanted to be with. There's an instance where she's always wanted to come out, but she's wanted to come out almost like not on her terms, but kind of like in a more romantic type way. And what happens to her is not the way she wants it to play out. And it's really, if anything, it's just a love story. Because I had a friend of mine. He's like, why are you writing about a story about a girl who comes out? And I'm like, well, one, why not? And I said, two, I said, it's a love story. And to me, it doesn't matter if you're straight, if you're bi, if you're transgender or anything. It's everybody deserves to feel what it's like to be in love. And this is a story where I just think it tells the story of how this girl went through everything, and how the struggle she had, and how things turn out for her.
Yeah, and that was kind of
Sorry,
you answered
sorry,
that.
Simon, because if I don't answer this question, I will forget. Um, do you find it hard though to obviously with short films, especially the film that you're describing now about a young woman coming out and it hasn't gone to plan? Do you find it hard to capture all of that emotion within 10 to 22 minutes of writing it, because it's a lot of emotion, like literally I've noticed with short films, because believe it or not, I actually studied film whilst after school and into college and stuff, and I noticed with short films is it has to grip you straight away, and if it doesn't grip you straight away, people lose interest straight away,
Yeah.
because I think the first 30 seconds it has to grip you straight away. So how do you incorporate all of that emotion, all of the sensitive subjects in such a short time to actually capture your audience?
Um, it really all comes down to the writing aspect of it. Because once you get ready to film, you know what's going to take place. So it's just like you've got to throw something at them where it's just like you said, that because you have a short window of time, it's not like an hour and a half movie where you can build up to it. It's just like you kind of got to cram some stuff in there, but you also have to. It's almost like a great bottle of wine. You've got to let it breathe a little bit, before because you don't want to just like start your movie off and then boom, okay, there's this massive scene, and then it's like, well, that kind of just explains everything. But so it's like you have kind of like, for me, it's like you have smaller windows. You've got a little bit of a lead up window, then you have your altercation or whatever it is, and then from there you can break down and try to capture as much emotion as you possibly can. And the thing about this one was, anytime where I kind of try to tackle something where it's more, not so much just like a fictional story. And even sometimes if it is, I always want to do my homework on certain things. I've done a couple crime short films. I'm in the process of writing a full length feature based off of both of my short films, Rookies and A Family Matter, because the same characters in it. And I had talked to a neighbor who used to work for the police department. And because when I wanted to shoot scenes, I wanted to shoot them right. I didn't want it to be like, oh, that would never happen. They don't, that, police wouldn't do that, whatever. And with this one, I have a good friend of mine who's an actor, and he's gay, and I wanted to get his take on it. So before even after I wrote it, because sometimes, you watch films and they put that little Hollywood ish, like, salt and pepper on it, where it's just like, man, that's not really, is that really, it's Hollywood or whatever. And, I actually reached out to him, and he was excited to read it. I took him to dinner, and I just said, look, I want you to read it. And when you get done, I said, let's just sit and talk about it. And when he got through, he just kind of looked at me and he said, like, John, this is really, really good. And he said, there's a lot of words and scenes in this film that even I went through before I came out. It's, one of those things he told me, he's like, I can't tell you how many times I was told this is just a phase. And when he said that, I'm like going, you haven't got even to page 30 yet. And that's one of the lines is, is this a phase or will they grow out of it? So, I wanted to make it, as believable, and I wanted to make it real, and that's kind of why I reached out to him, and he was so great from a support standpoint as well, saying hey, yeah, it's really good. And then when we had our table read with our entire cast, none of them had ever read it, and actually I had two actors who came in and they were they didn't even know what it was about basically, but when they came in and they learned about it, and when we got done with the table read, they were all like, John, this is beautiful. So it's one of those things that, fingers crossed, I hope everybody likes it. And, you know, um, my message is, because I had a friend who's like, what's your message on this film? I said, of course, the great thing about being in love, but on top of that, it's just like, who knows, maybe, someone's struggling with the fact that, they don't know how to come out, or what to say or what to do, and maybe this will give, to see this film, it gives them the courage. Hey, you know what, I'm going to live my life, and it's this is my journey, and for me in my life is to be happy, and I'm going to do whatever I can to make myself happy.
See, now we've spoke about mental health on this show a hell of a lot
Mhm.
in the early days of this show, like mental health with men. And me and Simon personally have opened up on the show for everybody to hear. And it's such a massive stigma when it comes to men, and men shouldn't feel this way. Men aren't allowed to cry. Men aren't allowed to do this, and men are meant to be strong. We're meant to be the powerful force, right? We're meant to be the driving force behind everything. Have you ever considered maybe covering that in a short movie? Just because the only reason I say that is because it is such a stigma, and I think people need to just be aware. It's more of awareness more than anything. It's so like essentially it would be like an awareness movie just to see what kind of struggle that men go through regarding mental health, because let's be fair, as men, the men don't like to talk about their feelings at all,
Hmm.
because they don't want to show weakness, they don't want to portray themselves to be weak. So I think it could be quite an interesting short film, especially if you're cramming it all into 20 minutes, because I think there could be possibly like a real story to tell. So have you ever thought about maybe like, I don't know, like writing something really hard hitting to like to hit you straight in the face straight away, and to actually make people like sit up and think, shit, actually men actually think like that. Men go through crap as well.
Yeah, and that's something that's been on my radar for a while, because it's exactly like you say. There are so many people, I don't say people, but it's always, men aren't allowed to, like you said, men aren't allowed to cry. They can have a soft side, but when it comes down to it, it's not really, people look at it as, oh, this guy's soft or whatever. He's too emotional, he's too this, he's too that. I'll be the first one to tell you, I cry like a baby, and I cry. I mean, I'll watch a commercial and I'll cry if it hits me right, because it's just like one of those things where it's just like, how do you not watch this? I mean, there's movies I won't even watch with my wife because I know that I'm going to start bawling, and I'll sit in our back room and I'll watch it myself. But it's it's definitely something that I've thought about, because it's like you said, it's something that's out there. But like for me, it's almost like I would rather than do it in a short, do it almost like in a full length feature, and really kind of hit the different avenues, because then what it does, it also allows you as a writer and as an actor to explore all that stuff. And it's like, all right, well, this guy's going through this. How does his friends react? And you can go, then all of a sudden you start throwing backstories of his friends, that maybe one's in a great marriage or relationship, or maybe one's, his wife's cheating on him, and he goes home every night and he cries or whatever. I mean, there's so many things, and it's just, that's the great thing about writing, is that you've got, there's so many stories that are out there, and there's so many stories that need to be told. And anytime when a writer attacks that and decides, hey, I'm gonna write this and so forth, I always encourage that, because it's for people to tell their stories. And and it's just like you said, everything that's going on with mental health and everything else, it's to have something be told. You don't know, that might even help someone down the road. And if that can do that, my gosh, I mean, think about how great that would be.
Mm. You mentioned earlier on that you're a school teacher as well. I don't know how you find the time to do everything, but with- do you teach older kids or younger kids? My next question.
Yeah, I teach kindergarten, 5-year-olds all the way up to 8th grade, which is like 13 and 14. And like right now, my 8th graders, since our kids get out in about 3 more weeks, and our 8th graders, they get out in like a week and a half. So they're kind of like the big fish in the big pond right now. And sometimes you gotta reel them back in a little bit, because it's just like, you know what, you haven't left school yet. But it's been a great run, because I've been at the same school for 26 and a half years now. And it's you've been there a long time when you've had kids in kindergarten whose kids are now there, and you're teaching them. So it's just like, yeah, I feel very, very old, yeah, a lot of times. So
Just on the back of that as well, do you kind of get some inspiration out of kind of your teaching role? So the imagination of young kids that they have, do you kind of use that and bottle that up and, put it into a short story as well? Have you ever kind of used their imagination to help you?
yeah, it's funny, because like, sometimes I mean, some of the things they say, it's just like, I'll sit there and like, I I need to use that in a movie. Can I use that in a movie? But I mean, I haven't written anything, based off of anything, from a school aspect or anything. But there's, it's always, there's always things down the road, or that stuff that you know, that comes up. But I will tell you one thing, is like, one of my friends, like, you goes, do you ever think you're going to retire? And I said, one of the great things about teaching kids is you can wake up and have a bad day. You're stuck in traffic, or you're late, or whatever. And it just takes one kid just to say something to you that makes you smile, where you realize, what? My day's not nearly as bad as what I thought it is. I mean, there's one day I came up, and one of the kids said something, and it just made me laugh. And I'm like going, what was I so stressed out about? And we have, at our school now, we do, on Fridays, we have, we always have school announcements, but we do a broadcast. And the kids, we have our kids come in, and they do like a broadcast. And all the kids can see them on the TVs and stuff. And we had some little first and second graders come in one day, and they knocked it out of the park, to the point where it's like, now the entire school wants the littles. We call them the littles. They want the littles to come in and do the news and the sports and the weather, because they're so much more, enthusiastic about it. And they come out and they tell jokes, and it's a great time. And it's just, I love what I do. But it's just, to be stressed out and walk into work, and have a kid say something that just makes you crack up, or makes you laugh, or it's just, you really think back that your day's not really as bad as it is.
And this this is kind of leading on from that question as well. You were a professional wrestler. Are we talking
Yeah,
WWE?
let's bypass that. Can we bypass that one?
No, no, no. Let's talk
I think
about
I
it.
think I think some I think that was a typo.
No, I don't think.
Is it? I mean, it's a big typo to do.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I was for about a year and a half. Yeah, and it was an independent organization that a friend of mine started. And it was funny, because we started out just wanting to raise some money, for, I can't remember what it was, but he had put this thing together at a school, which I don't know what the fun was, but he asked me, because we were both like big time wrestling fans. I mean, ever since I was a kid. And he wanted to put on a show at a school. And so we just started taking lessons, and we were taught by a guy down here in Texas. And then started he would have different events at different places, and it was funny because like one night we'd be in a high school and there'd be like 500 people in there, and then next week he goes, "Hey, we're wrestling at a roller rink," and I go in there and there's like 4 chairs with 2 people in there, and I'm like, well, this match is going to go real quick. He goes, yeah. He goes, just hit me in the head and I'll fall, and then pin me. And I'm just like, so, but I mean, it was fun. It's, I've always been a big, huge wrestling fan ever since I was a kid, and love it. And, I still watch it today. To me, I always look at it. It's a guy soap opera, and it's just, it's fun to watch. And it's just, it was funny because I had taken my wife to an event they had here in Dallas. It was like a Monday Night Raw, and we had some friends who had a box at the stadium. So we went and we all took our wives. And it was so funny because my wife got so hooked on it. I mean, she was just like staring at it. And then that was like I think it was that was Monday night. And then the following Monday at 7 o'clock, she's sitting in front of the couch with WWE on, watching it, going, and I'm like, oh my God. And she's texting her friend who she went with, like, hey, are you watching? I'm like, oh my God, what have I created? So, but it's, I mean, those guys are amazing too. I mean, it's just, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I did enjoy it.
So, John, apart from wrapping up your latest short film, what's coming up next for you after your film?
After a film, well, I've got another short film coming out. It's a micro short, which is probably be under about 5 minutes. And we'll shoot that when we get done there. That It's called Scars. It's a comedy. And then it's just, just continue to write. I've got, like I said, I've got couple screenplays I'm working on. I want to finish up. And then just, anytime I get an opportunity to audition and, go out and book a role, or, whatever I can to, help work on my acting, keep doing that.
Cool stuff. And where can people find your work? Let the people know where they can maybe get in contact with you or watch some of your movies.
Yeah, so on my website, it's jdafilm.com. It's got my bio on there. It's got a list of all my short films, the movie posters. It's got footage from a lot of footage from different scenes of different movies. It's got my demo reel on there. I've got a commercial reel on there. It also has one of my favorite short films on there, and it's called My Favorite Song, and it's about 6.5 minutes long. And then since I still have some films in short film festivals, I won't put those on my website till after the festivals get done and so forth. And then also at John David Anthony Actor on Facebook. And then Instagram is JDA Film 34.
What we will do, John, also we will add all those links onto this video. So anyone that listening that wants to get in contact with John or to watch his short films and his long films, so not just all about the short. Look, John, it's been an absolute pleasure listening to you. What we usually do, we usually just delve into somebody's life, and I'm so glad I brought up the wrestling because that's a really cool it's a really cool story about you and your wife, because you know what, English Football League over here, I'm trying to get my partner into it. Not a chance.
Yeah, good luck, mate. Good luck. Good luck with that.
But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, and we wish you all the best. And what we do,
thank you guys so much.
We stick around, so we keep stalking you, and we keep sharing a lot of your work that you do as well. So once again, that was John Anthony, and he's an actor, writer, and director all the way from the States. And I've got a funny feeling that John will land a big role soon, and hopefully he gets his wish to work with Morgan Freeman. But as we move on to the next interview, and thank you very much, John. But as we move on,
thank you guys so much.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you, John.
We move on to the next interview. We're jam-packed tonight, and as I said, unfortunately, I was running late, so apologies for all that. But the show does go on, and as we say goodbye to John. So, our next guest, look, what can I say? it's funny how we kind of met. It was, I think it was through Instagram or Messenger or Facebook or something like that.
Facebook, yeah. I
Facebook.
messaged you and you messaged me back,
Wow.
basically.
So, what, as you, well, if you've been listening to our show for a couple of weeks now, we are broadening what we do. So we're reaching out to all different angles. And tonight, our next guest, she is a DJ based in London. And look, I'm quite excited about this interview because, as you guys know, if you've been listening to us from the start, we are DJs as well. So I think this interview is going to flow quite smoothly. What do you reckon, Casper?
Yeah, for sure, man. And it's the first ever female DJ. Well, actually, it's the first DJ that we've ever had on the show as well. So we're just quite lucky that is a female DJ, because three lads talking is not great. I'd like to. I'm interested to see the different perspective of a female DJ to a male DJ, what they have to go through. Because I know as a DJ working gigs, you get so many people coming up to you, blah 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 blah. And so I'm very intrigued to see how the female DJ deals with that sort of attention. So yeah, Alex, are you ready?
Well, yeah. Should I start with introduction? I mean, introducing
Yeah, go
myself.
for it. Yeah.
Okay, so my name is Alexandra. I'm at the moment, I live in London, but I'm from Russia. I was born in St. Petersburg and I moved to the UK 5 years ago. I finished my A level in Oxford and now I'm still a student. I'm studying Chinese in SOAS University in London. And I'm also doing DJing, but I started my first experience being a DJ was in 2019. I started doing this in St. Petersburg and I got my first teacher there, but it wasn't that good as it's here in UK.
No, that's awesome. And like Casper said, yeah, lady DJs. I'm going to call you lady, and I said a lovely lady. Lady DJs, they have gotten a bit of a rough stick over the years. What I mean by that is that people seem to kind of had this stigmatism around, ladies shouldn't DJs. They shouldn't DJ at all. How at a gig have you kind of been approached by anyone and said, "Oh, can I take over?" Or have you had any like really really bad experiences?
Okay, well, I want to start with what happened to me in Russia. As you know, probably Russia is quite a conservative country and man is always a leader. And for example, women sometimes can be discriminated. They get lower salaries, they have less opportunities to work, they're meant to be mothers. So I got my teacher, my DJ teacher, first DJ teacher in St. Petersburg. And the first few lessons, he was quite nice, but we were moving quite slowly. I mean, he didn't teach me that much as my teachers did it here in the UK. So after I completed my first course with my Russian teacher, he was like, okay, so we are done. Have a lovely day. Nothing. Even though before that we had a discussion how about my future gigs in St. Petersburg, but he was like, I'm not sure that they want. I mean, the clubs, they want female DJs. So I was shocked because I mean, I was taking classes, I was paying for you, and you promised me to get me into the clubs, to give me an opportunity to meet the promoters and etc. But I just heard this. So then I moved to London and I entered London Sound Academy, which is the world leading academy. This academy is just amazing. I love the teachers, I love the atmosphere, I love everything about this academy. I learned so many things from there and it was so quick. So I basically, from the beginner to pro, it took me just 3 months, actually, I would say.
That's good. That's really good.
Perfect. So what type of music do you like DJ, and have you always DJ'd that style of music that you DJ now, or did you start off on another genre?
Okay, so let's come back to my Russian teacher again. So again, and as you said, stigma. Usually, women are not supposed to play techno, hard techno, or dark music. But I love dark music. I love techno a lot, and I mostly play techno now. I really love Charlotte David or Emily Lenz or Deborah DeLuca, very famous techno DJs. But my Russian teacher, he was like, no, you have to do deep house, only deep house. It's easy, it's simple, and if you play deep house, it's not that vulgar. He said vulgar because I would love to play techno. I don't know why he found the connection between the word vulgar and techno, but anyways, you know what I mean. So yeah, now I'm happy about playing techno in London.
Yeah, no, definitely. You mentioned before, Amy Lee's, all those female DJs. Look, I follow a couple as well, and what I've found is that there's a positive and a negative with all the comments that are put on there. So, on their Facebook account, the feedback some of those artists get are really, really positive. But the negative feedback is always around the dancing side of things. Now, to me, right, if you've kind of watched any of I like to have a boogie. I like to dance behind the decks, but I don't go over the top. Now, watching some female DJs, and this is not from me, the dancing seems a lot more happening than the DJing itself. I know with house, there's a lot of build-ups, there's a lot of intros, and there's a lot of endings, and in between, there's a lot of music as well. So I understand there's not much really to do in between. But I reckon sometimes the dancing is a little bit over the top, and you can get into the music. You can really get into it. But when you're doing spins around, turns, and I'm not saying men DJs do it, because they do. And you can watch some of the festivals that they get on top of the decks and they're fist pumping and things like that. But what's your thoughts about like dancing behind the decks?
That's super funny question, to be honest. Well, I love dancing when I'm DJing, but in my case, it's a bit different situation because I know you are saying that it takes quite a long time to start making the transition between the tracks. But what I do, I use layering style sometimes. So basically I use 3 CDJs. My teacher in London Sound Academy is super talented. He's a Japanese guy. His name is Takahiko. He's also known as DJ Takaki. So he taught me a very, very nice technique. So basically we use several CDJs. We pick up from one track, we pick up buzz. From another track, we pick up, for example, the highest frequency, and we mix everything together, and we basically create our own melody by using 4 or even more CDJs. So I don't really have a lot of time for dancing. I know I mix techno, but still, I had 3 or 4 CDJs.
I think you have to be a bit realistic, Charcoal, that if you have a female DJ in a club, regardless, like the manager of the club and the promoter of the club knows if there's a female DJ there and she's shaking and she's dancing behind the decks, sex sells, mate. And that's what gets men into the club. Do you know
Totally.
what I mean? We have to be brutally honest, mate, because that's exactly what it comes down to.
Yeah.
If you have an attractive DJ, a female DJ behind the decks, now this might be pig-headed of me, but if there is an attractive female DJ, that's automatically going to attract men, and then men are going to spend money. The club is making shitloads of money just because there's an attractive female DJ. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of get it when females do dance behind the decks because they have to. They're playing music, yeah,
Yeah, but
but
that
they have to put
overshadows.
on, but they have to put on a show as well, mate.
I
Has a
get that.
male
I get that.
DJ
But it kind
now?
of it kind of overshadows the talent, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Because
but mate, in a realistic world, mate, you don't really need that much talent now. Do you know what I mean? To do
yeah,
what you
I
do,
get I
you
get
really
that. As,
don't. Like, let's be fair. Like, you don't. Like, for me, mate, if I go to a gig with you, I won't touch the decks. I'll be your hype man. I'm a better hype man than I am a DJ when it comes to live performances. Do you know what I'm saying? But if I have to get on the decks, I'll get on the decks, mate, and I'll be throwing hands up and I'll be dancing and stuff like that because I feel like if a crowd can relate to the DJ, if the DJ's having a great time, the crowd's having a great time.
yeah, and kind of I go back to my original question about the way the response from people on Facebook and things like that. There there are that negativity around. You know, I get what you're saying. Um, People have got to dance, and you know, and if it's a lady dancing, then it's going to sell a lot better, so to speak. But then you've got the other side of it where people like you and me, we want just to see the talent behind the decks, like their craft, so to speak. I don't want to go there to a show and see someone dancing behind the decks. I'd go to a dance show if I wanted that. Now, if I want to see talent as well as dancing, then I would, you know, I don't know. I'd
I
look
don't
at,
know, Alex. Alex, what's your view? What's your view on the whole situation?
yeah, what's your view?
Actually, you're saying that basically when a woman is DJing, and that means basically dancing. It's not all the time like this.
No.
And actually, I had a very awkward situation 1 month ago when I was playing. I'm not gonna name the place just in case.
No, you're
Basically,
okay.
I was
You can say whatever
DJing.
you want.
I was DJing there, and there was a guy, and he just came to me, came behind the decks, and started like touching me and forcing to come with him, even though I was playing. And at that time, I was wearing black, simple T-shirt, nothing vulgar, nothing open. Everything was black. My jeans was black. Everything, and he didn't mind. I mean,
Wow.
it can happen to anyone,
Yeah,
So I don't know, just
I get that, and it's kind of it's it's a question I ask. The reason why is because there is that negativity. Like if I saw a guy dancing behind the decks, I'd probably say the same thing as if it was a girl. I'd say, "Come on, mate. Look, I understand you got to fill the gap, but I don't know. I DJ different. I DJ a lot of weddings, right? And I probably won't get any more, but I don't really like it because you don't get to showcase your talent. Literally, no one's there to, you know, look what you're doing. They just want to party. They just want to party, and that's fine, and that's what weddings are like. But with me, I mix. When I mix, Casper will know this. Literally, I mix probably under a minute for each track because I get bored. I just get bored, and that's the person that I am. And there's a lot of people out there that are probably like me that go, you know what? Cut the dancing. Just drop the next track in. Just drop it in.
But
And
mate, you have to appreciate that the DJ industry, it's okay turning up with some decks and some music, but they're paying you to put on a show, regardless, whether it's music, whether it's you dancing, or something, or whether it's you hyping the crowd. The job of the DJ is to give the crowd what they want and to have a really good time. That crowd needs to leave having the best night of their life. That's the DJ's job. That's what the DJ gets paid for. So, in my experience, mate, yeah, have I acted like not an idiot behind the decks when I've DJ'd in big events? No, I haven't. But mate, do I get on the mic a bit too much? Yes, I probably do because I'm trying to hype the crowd as well as play the music that they want to play. We're in the DJ industry. This is my perspective of the DJ industry. I'm an inactive DJ now, so I don't go out live gigging. I haven't done for many years. But if I had to, then I could. It's not a problem. But as a DJ, I think from my past experiences, mate, because I started DJing at a very young age. I started DJing in like bars and clubs at like 16, 17. Look at me, mate. I'm in my 30s and I'll probably look about 40 odd. Do you know what I mean? So I always looked older than what I was. So I could get into these places and do what I needed to do. And I tell you what, mate, the amount of female attention that I got just by playing music. Really, when I first started, it was just all about the music, mate. But then I kind of learned the craft of entertainment. You have to entertain people, and whether that's getting on the mic, whether that's I don't know, dancing or whatever. Because I feel like if the crowd sees the DJ having a great time, they're going to reflect that. It's like a mirror image. Do you know what I mean? Like, so let's say for instance, I've been at some places where the geezer's been like 5 foot nothing, bald, fat, and just literally pressing play, and that's it, and flipping the crossfader. People don't like that, mate.
No,
People like a show.
I wouldn't
Do
like
you know
that.
what I mean? Now, I don't know how you've been taught, Alex. Like, I don't know, like, at college, whether your teachers have said to you, like, okay, it's all about the music, or do you learn the performance side of being a DJ as well?
No, actually, they just told me be yourself and that's it. Do whatever you like, do whatever you think is right.
Yeah, definitely. So, Alex, we talked about genres before. I saw a little snippet that you dropped. Yeah, and you did a bit of dubstep. Now,
Oh,
now, dubstep. Look, I tried dubstep, um, and I actually really liked it when it first came out. I think the first track that I remember for dubstep was Bower. Is it Bower? Is that how you pronounce it? And they had like it was a big song. I can't remember the song, but anyway, our listeners, the really musically knowledgeable listeners, will know who Bower is in the dubstep industry. So I couldn't I couldn't get into it. Literally, there's too many different levels on dubstep, and literally, like, you don't have that time for long transitions, which is good. It's challenging, and dubstep is probably one of the hardest genres I've dealt with to try and transition. There are parts of it where you can look at, whatever software you're looking, and okay, there's not too much happening there, and just drop it in a track, or there's other techniques to do that. But yeah, what was your thoughts on dubstep, and did you like it or?
okay. So this is just that was a funny story. Okay, once when I was taking my course at LSA, I couldn't make it. My teacher couldn't make it, so I had to change my teacher just for one class, and I booked a lesson with the amazing Josie. She's a dubstep DJ, and she showed me how to do dubstep transition. So we just mixed few tracks, and we even mixed techno with dubstep. That was crazy, actually. That was insane. I really liked the result. But basically, few days ago, I just wanted to have some fun. I'm not a big fan of dubstep, but I was like, why not to give it a try? So I did, and I was like, okay, I like Avicii, I like Diplo, so I like the result as well. Why not to post it?
No,
But how was it?
tough though. Yeah, it was good. It was good, but like you can stick with dubstep. I won't touch it no more. I, what is your preferred? I know you said techno before. Have you ever kind of delve into? Sorry, Casper. Have you ever kind of like delve into the slower stuff? The lower BPMs, like your, I don't know, your hip hop, R and B. R and B is really really low, but yeah, your hip hop.
Not none of these genres, but lower BPM can be found in drum and bass. Sorry, I'm not sure how you pronounce it in English. Drum
Yeah,
and
that's fine.
bass, bass. Yeah. Anyways, you got me. So yeah, that's what I use for my layering style when I create my own music using several CDJs. Of course, there I can use lower BPM. What I do sometimes, it's not necessarily what my teacher taught me. It's not necessarily to sing them. I mean, to have equal BPMs. For example, can be a melody without beats, right? And if you have drum and bass and beats bass, okay, you can sing them and then just add a melody with 80 BPM and it's still gonna sound good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's something. Sorry, Kes. That's something that I've kind of not touched on. The kind of instrumental with just the vocals, like trying to blend those two tracks, and that's something that I don't know. I haven't put together yet. I know Casper, you have done some instrumentals with just vocals and try to do that blend, but I don't know. I've just been watching a lot of TikTok videos and Instagram videos, and a lot of people are remixing all the old tracks and, just getting the instrumental and dropping a vocal on top of it. So I might delve into it. Sorry, Casper.
No, it's fine. I was going to just ask Alex, obviously, because you are a techno DJ. What's your, obviously that's your preferred genre to DJ, but what do you listen to when you're at home and it's your downtime? And because I can't imagine it being like 8 o'clock in the evening, you're listening to that techno. Man. You
I
must.
do.
You do. No, because I mean, some of us will listen to like Motown or some R&B. Or they like some softer music, but you're just kind of like, right, it's 7, 8 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the evening. Right, let's put on some techno. Is is that all you're into? Is literally techno?
Well, okay. So basically from this question comes another question. I force myself sometimes to listen commercial music. Why? Is that because the market wants it? If you want to get gigs, you need to play what people need, and people want commercial music. But I honestly don't like songs like, Despacito, or I don't know what is the famous thing. I don't know, Katy Perry. I don't know.
Sure.
I just don't like it. And for playing something, to make the successful transitions, you need to know the track. So you have to listen them over and over again. And I'm just trying to force myself to listen this sometimes, but I honestly don't like it. I got a friend on Instagram as well, and he was like, I have a job for you. You can become a resident at the shortage bar, but you need to play commercial. So he gave me his playlist, and it was full of Despacito style songs. So that's what I'm trying to listen now.
Yeah, I mean, for me, reggaeton is very, very easy to mix because it's a constant beat and it's the same, it's
Same
the
beat.
same beat over and over and over again. It doesn't matter what track it is; it's just literally the same beat. But I get it because, like, when I was on the radio, I used to say, like, commercial music. People want to listen to commercial music on the radio. That's why we turn on the radio, because we like to listen to songs that we can sing to, that we can relate with, and everything like that. So I kind of get it, like, but on the other hand of mixing commercial music now, everything in the top 40 is dance music. So you're looking at 124 to 128 to 130. So it's very easy to transition like these tracks, especially dance music. Oh my god, it's so easy. Like you can literally mix it with your eyes closed. You don't even have to
Yeah.
look at the CD. You just have to listen to it and go, yeah, okay, I can drop it there. Um, but do you find it difficult, like, to kind of get gigs just because you're not into that kind of commercial side of music? Because I guarantee, because if you was into the commercial side, I imagine a lot more doors would open up and you'd be able to get a lot more gigs, whether they pay it as well as obviously doing the techno side of things. I don't know, but like, have you ever thought about maybe just doing it just for extra gigs and extra money.
I know what I mean. I agree with you. I have to do this for the beginning of my DJ journey. Um, well, about the gigs, to be honest, it was quite easy. And it's easy if you play what people want. For example, 1 week ago, one disco pub in Brighton, they wanted me to play there urgently because their DJ was done and he couldn't make it. So they called me and they asked me to come, even though I was in London. It was like, yeah, of course I can come, but they wanted commercial. And I was like, okay, I will prepare a commercial. But my commercial was not like that commercial, wasn't that much vulgar, because they want like rap with mixed rap with pop and etc. I suggested them just melodic deep house. It was like my maximum, because I just cannot play what I don't like. And I sent them my mixtape, which I recorded within 30 minutes that they gave me. I said, I can do this. I can record a set for you on my controller and send you, and then you can check and we can like figure the things out. And they said, no, we need commercial. And again, another club, they refused me because they just don't like my music. So now I'm really working on building up my playlist full of commercial songs.
I mean, me and Simon, we can definitely help you with that. That's not a problem. That's definitely not a problem. Like I can send you over. I can send you over 2,000 tracks now. It's not a problem.
Right, deal. Okay.
Of like the latest commercial music, like for me. But I get it, because like especially like in Brighton, it's a seaside resort, and even some clubs in London, they prefer commercial music because they know people can relate to it. Now obviously you on the techno side, there's going to be specific clubs for specific music, so obviously you target the techno side of things. But obviously, like we just touched on, it kind of limits where you can go, and the amount of money that you could potentially make, just because you're kind of not acceptable for the club because you don't play commercial music. But maybe it is a good idea to just practice. Literally practice. Just practice with commercial dance music, because that's enough for most clubs nowadays. And you just have to chuck in some Ed Sheeran and some hip hop rap music. That's rubbish anyway nowadays. And you're set, like literally you're set, especially if you're only doing like a 2 hour set. What's a 2 hour set? We're looking at 30 songs in 2 hours. It's kind of nothing really. You just have to pick the right songs.
No, I would say 30 songs is not it's not enough for 2 hours, especially for modern commercial music like Ed Sheeran, because you need to make transition in the right point. Otherwise you just screw up the whole set if your transition won't be smooth. So you need to, like, usually it's like in the middle of the track, or not in the end, you know what I mean.
For me, it's
That's my DJ style.
16.
That's my DJ style.
It's about 16 beats in for me. That's my transition, because I get bored too easy. But
Oh yeah, do you count them? Like, do you every time count them, like the bars?
I do.
Now Simon's software counts it for him.
Get lost. Anyway, you kind of let something slip to us outside of this interview, that you are heading over to France to DJ soon. So is this your kind of first gig? I wouldn't. Well, yeah, abroad, so overseas.
Well, no, because I had gigs in Russia.
Since in London.
Yeah, since I'm in London, yeah. But basically, of course, yeah, I'm still going to that one in Paris. But I got some bad news for myself. My visa, because I'm Russian, I need visa for traveling around Europe. So I got my visa today, and it's only for 1 month. And I had a lot of plans, and I've been planning to, I mean, I had a promoter and we were talking about me going to Switzerland this summer and Amsterdam, but I need Schengen visa and I need to reapply again, but there are no available slots anymore till July, till the end of July. So my plans are kind of screwed up.
Talking of Switzerland, we're actually, me and Simon are actually going to Switzerland in 4 weeks' time.
Really? Oh my God,
Yeah.
which city? Geneva.
Bern.
It's where all the clubs.
Yeah,
Oh, we're not going to Geneva. No, it's kind of like a small part of Switzerland, right? It's called Bern.
Oh, Bern, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah,
there a long time ago.
yeah, that's where we're going. I have no idea what to expect or what it's like. I
You will
don't
love
even know.
it.
I don't even know where we're flying into, Simon. Oh, Basel. Is it Basel?
Basil.
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 Basel. Yeah, Basel.
Hey, it was quite funny. This is a little candid conversation that we had off air last week. And I turned around to Casper and I said, what language do they speak in Switzerland? And he said, well, it's Swiss. And I went, I didn't know there was language called Swiss. Anyway, we spent like 5 minutes Googling it. And because Casper just pissed himself laughing because he thought that was such a dumb question. And I went, well, not really, because the language over there is French, it's Italian, it's
German.
In German.
German. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's everything. So,
So
yeah.
when we fly over to Switzerland, everything that I'm going to post on Facebook, I'm just going to hashtag it saying fucked. Hashtag fucked.
Why?
Because, mate, I'll have to use Google Translate for 2 days. That's a pain in the arse,
But
isn't
they
it?
speak English there, everywhere.
Yeah, but what about if you approach someone? What about if you approach someone and they don't speak any English? I'd have
They
to say
do,
Google.
I think everyone.
Casper.
See, this is how naive I am to Switzerland. Like, I just know that they have a half decent football team. That's it. Like,
Oh
that
my
is-
gosh. I thought I was bad at asking questions. Anyway, Alex, have you kind of thought about getting into the production side of things? Like producing your own kind of music and then DJ? Because I know a lot of DJs are doing that now. Well, not now. It's becoming very, very popular though. So have you ever thought of kind of producing your own, and especially techno as well?
Well, I want to start with I'm actually a pianist. I've been playing piano for 8 years, so I definitely will make something by myself. But now, I don't know if you can call it music production. What I've mentioned earlier is just like layering style. It's also some kind of creative, I would call it actually music production still, even if you don't call it like this. Because you can just add whatever you want there and you can make your own melody, and then after you record your track you can go to FL Studio. Is like the most basic production software, music production software. Yeah, and just can add something there as well. That's what I'm learning now. I'm learning how to use FL Studio.
I've got another question. Sorry, Casper.
Yeah.
I'll leave. I'll leave
We
now.
get
It's fine.
we get a lot of unsigned artists on this show, and when I mean unsigned artists, kind of musically gifted artists, and they find it hard for their music to get heard on a broader spectrum. So, have you kind of been approached by any kind of unsigned artists or music artists to play their music in your sets?
Yeah, it's actually another DJ, but he's a beat maker as well. Is my acquaintance. We were studying together, and he's also DJ, and he's a quite successful DJ. There is Korean, very very famous Korean boy band known as EXO, like K-pop and other stuff. So he created beat bass for them, and when you can listen one of their songs, the EXO band songs, you can hear in the beginning of their song how they say his DJ nickname. And when he told me that, I was quite shocked and surprised, because he was like such a shy guy, but he's a great man in the same time. He's so talented, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you got to watch out for the quiet ones. The quiet ones are the sneakiest ones, right? If you're quiet, then all of a sudden you put them in the right environment, and then they just come alive, don't they? They literally just.
You've gone somewhere else with that.
No, where do you think I was going with it? You thought I was going to say something rude, wouldn't you? You just thought I was going to say something rude.
No, not rude at all. I'm just, I didn't think you'd finish off that sentence the way you did. But,
How did you think I was going to finish it off?
well, I thought you were going to take the piss out of me or something like that.
Oh no, I'll do that anyway, mate. I don't need to build up for it or anything like that. So Alex, so obviously, Alex, what's kind of like next for you? Like, what are your plans? Like, do you plan on continue gigging in London, or when the visa gets sorted out, would you like to travel around the world? What's the dream?
Okay, should I start with telling my summer plans?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to continue making my music, and I hope I will get more gigs. And I'm actually trying to get gigs in Dubai now, because I have a promoter who is my friend in the same time. There was a funny story how I met this guy. That was 1 month ago. Basically, I went to Dubai with my mother and sister, and in my hotel there was like a Mexican restaurant, and that guy was managing there. He was like manager, and they had a DJ booth there, and I was like, hey, do you want to have a look at my portfolio? And he was like, yeah, of course. And we had a nice conversation, we had a nice chat with him, and he was like, do you want to actually come and play whenever you're like in Dubai? Just give me a call and we just put you in there, and you can play at our place as much as you like. I was like, yeah, of course. So I don't need a visa to come to Dubai, so probably that's what I'm gonna do.
Nice, the summer in Dubai. I mean, I could think of worse things
It's
to
gonna
do.
be too hot, plus 40, plus 50 sometimes. DJing in open space when it's plus 50 outside, I'm gonna die.
No, I'm sure you'll be fine. Just don't do too much dancing, because you'll definitely
Oh
sweat.
yeah.
You don't want to sweat.
Yeah.
I'll be texting you. Come on, stop the dancing.
Yeah, reminders.
No chance at all. So, guys, we are going to wrap the interview up with Aleks, but we've got a pretty special announcement. So, for those who are watching online, you would probably see that I've just changed my background picture. And I don't know if you can see that small screen, but it does say that Aleks is going to be one of the hosts on the Chalk and Cheese show, and we are mega excited for her to be on as well. So it's 3 DJs in one house. So that's perfect.
I know. And I
So
dropped a massive hint.
excited.
I dropped a massive hint last week, and I said, "What's the two plus one?" And I don't think anybody actually got it. And I actually was dropping little hints on Facebook as well. I was saying, "Is there room for one more?" And nobody actually got it. Like, nobody actually twigged on that that we was going to introduce Aleks as one of the hosts of the Chalk and Cheese show. I'm very excited, and I think the guests that we actually have on are going to be very excited. Instead of talking to two old men, they can talk to a very attractive female now.
Making me shy, guys.
No, definitely. And you know what? It's not all about attraction. It's about, the way you come across. And tonight was a little bit of a mini interview, so to speak. And you passed, sorry. So you do get that badge to go with you as well. So Aleks is going to be joining the show next week. And we've got a pretty big lineup for next week. So we've got a comedian on the show, and we've got a couple of artists as well. So some music artists. We got some R&B artists. Sorry, Aleks, we got no techno people at them next week.
I will get you some.
Definitely. So Alex is going to be helping us behind the scenes as well, and she can bring that lady's perspective on things as well, or try and calm us two down,
Yeah.
while obviously becoming a valuable team member to us. So that's pretty much all from me tonight. What we usually do, for those who know the show, I say a little spiel and then Casper finishes off the show. And but we'll let Alex have a little bit of a mention at the end of the show.
I think we should let Alex finish off the show. I definitely think.
Okay, let me try.
Let me,
So,
Okay,
let me finish.
so I would, oh, go on, mate. Go on. Sorry.
you guys speaking in the same time, can you hear?
Yeah, I know. Look, we've got a little code that we usually do, but I'm doing it tonight. But Casper's kind of forgotten. Sorry, mate. Oh, he looks really, really grumpy right now. Are you okay?
No. Sorry, mate. Look, I'm on Instagram. I'm checking messages as we're live, man. Sorry.
Oh, look, I'm really sorry to all our people that are watching on Facebook, Instagram. We welcome your comments. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll be sharing the absolute shit out of this after. So yeah, you've been listening to the Chalk and Cheese Show. Make sure you give us a follow on Instagram and also Facebook, and we are now live on Apple Podcast. We're on Amazon Podcast. We're on Anchor FM, and there's one more, Google.
Spotify.
Google as well. So
Oh, yeah.
make sure you check out our shows. We're special. We are special. So stick around with us and enjoy the journey. You have been listening to DJ Charcoal tonight. It's Huru from the Guru, and I'm signing off.
And just to add a massive thank you to our two wonderful guests, we had John Anthony all the way from the USA join us, actor, producer, and screenwriter. So be sure to check out his website and hit him up for any of the acting gigs that you have. And obviously, a massive thank you to Aleks, the superstar techno DJ, all the way from Russia, but currently residing in London. And on that note, that is good night from myself, DJ Casper, and Aleks. If you'd like to end us.
Am I supposed to say something?
No. we'll work on that bit. We'll work on that bit.
But it's been an absolute pleasure having you, Alex, on the show, and we want you back next week. You're coming back anyway, so.
Oh yeah, of course. I want to say something from myself.
Good.
Thank you so much for letting me to become a part of your team. I'm super excited to participate, and I promise I will bring some new and creative and interesting and talented people into the show.
Yes.
And thank you guys for watching us.
Brilliant.
That,
Look,
on that note, good night from the Chalk and Cheese Show, from myself, DJ Casper, DJ Charcoal, and of course DJ Aleks, the third and final member of the Chalk and Cheese Show. Until next week, guys, take care, and we will see you next Wednesday, 8:30 on the dot, Facebook Live. Peace.